just addressing some of the, how should I say it, anxiety that might be happening in our world right now. It's affecting people in different ways. Some people are like, whatever, I'm focusing on my thing and my business and family and stuff. And other people are much more sensitive to the things that are happening and perhaps much more directly affected to what's going on. I know for me in the Washington, D.C. area, it is certainly something that is affecting, people that I know, actually neighbors that I know that have lost their jobs and really have impacted their lives. So I just wanted to just sharing how people might be feeling right now, just to acknowledge what's going on with you. Everybody's handling this differently. If it's not really affecting you, or if you're not putting a lot of energy, if you kind of cut off social media, then, that's cool. But for other people, as we know, when emotion is high, intelligence is low. That's just how we're wired. When you have a lot of emotion, you do things and say things that maybe later you regret. And when you're a business owner, that can be a very expensive reaction. And one of the things that we teach here, share with you, and encourage to get control over is our emotional intelligence and being less reactive to things and choosing how we respond. Because as owners, how we show up is everything. How we show up just in ourselves, how we show up to our families, how we show up to our staff. I think sometimes, unless you've created that culture, your culture is we get to lovingly and honestly call people out if they're acting outside of our values and what we believe. I would say you do not challenge the owner. You do not do that, because who knows what's going to happen if you do. So kudos to you for creating that and then allowing this person to say that to you with your mindset, saying that this person cares about the company enough to not allow me to say things knowing that I'm probably just reacting. But that doesn't always happen, does it? So I guess I want to open it up to anybody at this point and to share, is anything happening right now heightening your anxiety level? And if so, how is it showing up, and how you are showing up to your team, to your family, and perhaps discuss, if it's not healthy, better ways to deal with the anxiety, the uncertainty, the physical stress, the mental stress that's happening. Because there's going to be two things that happen moving forward with all the uncertainty. One, there is going to be people that come out of this, business owners that come out of this better. Their business is going to be better. Their organization, their ideas are going to be better after this dust settles at some point. And there's other people that are going to be a hell of a lot worse. And they're going to be worse primarily because how they made decisions and reacted instead of responding to what's going on, and not creating borders and protections around the most important thing we all have, which is how we think about things, how we handle things, how we process the problems that we have. And that's all on us. Can't blame anybody else but us. It's our business. And everybody in our team is looking towards us, and they will react to how you react. They will literally follow the leader. I think there certainly is a hiring and retention issue that is happening in all of our industries, whether it's, PT, mental health, pediatrics, what have you. There's just less people in it because, frankly, unless you absolutely love this and don't really care that much about the money, school is just way too expensive compared to what you're going to make to come out. So then they're putting it on the employers to pay me more because I deserve it, because I have a lot of bills. And that bubble is, it's going to burst at some point. You just can't keep charging more and more for an education that is way too much for what we're able to pay if you're in insurance and based on third parties reimbursements of that. It's just not sustainable. So I think there certainly is, because of the cost of everything going up just to live. And now with, people fear of the stock market or fear of all those other things, that their natural reaction is safety. All of our natural reaction is, Maslow's, hierarchy of needs is we will get contracted to go safe. I can see the signs and understand that we're human beings and we walk around with a computer on our hands 24/7 giving us the constant stuff that is happening. And then we get to see every person we know and don't know comment on that, and then people comment on that. And it's happening every second of the day. And we're supposed to then live our life and take care of other people. The amount of energy that takes to do that is incredible. The amount of energy it takes to actually show up and help other people, whether you're physically still in patient care or you're supporting your team, that is a ton of energy, the responsibilities. You add this on top of it, it is a lot. Whether or not they are telling you it's a lot. I chose, and I spoke with my coaches about this, and we all agreed, get out in front of it and give this place, give this forum a chance for people to, at the very least, if you don't even say anything, at least we're not pretending it's not there. But it affects everybody different. I would say most of the people, it may not have a direct effect right now in your business. But what we all can agree is that the world and this country is more uncertain than it was 6 months ago. True? Yeah. There's more uncertainty. There was always uncertainty. We live in a world of uncertainty. There's always uncertainty. We don't know. And one of the things that I've noticed by hanging around and having the privilege of hanging around with some very just amazing, successful people, not just money success, but just how they live their lives and their relationships and the impact that they make, is they've learned to be okay with uncertainty. They don't try to control it. They just learn how to be okay with it. Whereas most people that are not in good positions, they react to the uncertainty. They try to get control of the uncertainty. And many times that control and those decisions made negatively affect what they're doing, their business, the decisions they make, the hires they make, the financial decisions they make, because it's a sense, I got to get control back and this is how I do it. And they shrink, they apply scarcity mindset tactics, and they get smaller thinking that's going to be safe. And a lot of times those decisions are also, I get more alone. We're facing the uncertainty of how people respond in these situations. We all can remember COVID and the pandemic. Everyone responded differently. There were certain people that I worked with that were in this group that came out of COVID on fire, that have created, some of them still in this group, that have created amazing businesses. And there's others that still say, I haven't fully recovered. What's the difference? Is it the location, their industry, the type of practice they have? I would say no. That's very, very small. It's them. It's how they dealt with it, what they did. And that's the same thing that's happening here. You understand what's happening. The question becomes, so then what is your strategy? I always recommend getting out in front and making it personal, connecting. What can you do to create more reassurance, to double down on your values? See, this is a chance you get to double down on your values. You can put the values on some wall all day long. The value doesn't matter until it's actually stressed. So if your value is, I don't know, what's one of your values? So I think engage and adaptable are probably very appropriate right now. Let's show what those values are about. Not talk about them. Let's show what they're about. So what can you do to show your team and your patients, this is who we are in times like this? What can you do? You have a lot of awareness of yourself, of what's going on, and how you respond to these types of things. And I think it's important for all of us to have an awareness of, how do we typically respond to uncertainty? How do we respond to uncertainty? And then it's, do we have a pulse on our staff and our patients. So first we have to understand us, because if we don't understand us, it's hard to show up for others. And I agree with you. And I talk to the coaches. I got you, Sahana. I talk to the coaches about, and they can tell you this, my only concern is bringing this up is I don't want to worry. I don't want to have any concern with anyone that's not concerned. I only wanted to speak to the people that may be feeling this, and more important, to focus on the fact that this is going beyond you. This is going to go to your staff and your patients. And it's better to be out in front, at least with open communication lines, and at least with an opportunity to reinforce our values. But choosing the temperature in which that's happening, you're going to choose a temperature of 20%, whereas someone perhaps within the DC area, a client that I'm personally working with, he flat out, people have said, so-and-so lost their job, so-and-so lost their jobs, specifically for this. So that's going to be a little different, communication. So this is where the art of what we're doing. There's the science, there's strategic, there's flat out business, stuff. And then there's the art of how it's communicated and how we position it. And that's a lot of what I want to share today and talk about today, because that will be different for everybody. I want to make sure that every single person knows it's at this time to double down on your coach, not to shy away. And I tell our coaches, I've been doing this a long time, right? I'm like the OG in this coaching stuff. When people contract because of stress, they communicate less and they show up less. And if that's happening, imagine how they're showing up with their team and things start to spiral. So I say, if you don't hear from somebody, if they cancel with whatever reason, it doesn't really matter the reason, we go after them, because that's what's in best interest of you guys. Obviously you're here. There's people not here. But if you notice that same thing with your staff, if you just notice little subtleties that perhaps are out of characteristic, perhaps that's their way of trying to get some kind of control back by the communication starts to go. So my thing is, this is the time to double down. You start having all kinds of crazy thoughts in your head, double down, reach out to your coach, contact them on Slack or whatever way you typically do it. And they know that, hey, we need to jump on a call. Let's jump on a call. I don't care if it's 5 or 10 minutes. Let's keep this protected. And again, some people will need a little bit more. Some people are like, no, I'm good. Viktor Frankl in the famous book, Man's Search for Meaning, who was a Holocaust survivor, he said, even when the worst of the worst that was happening, what he was seeing around, he said, you can take everything from me except, our greatest gift, which is our gift to choose one's attitude. No matter what's happening, we get to choose our attitude. We get to choose waking up this morning and saying, this is going to be a great day, or this is going to be the worst thing in the world. And the more you are sucked into the social media, news media, which let's be real, the news media is designed to get your attention. That's what it's designed to do, regardless of how they do it. So you got to be careful where you're giving your attention to. I say double down on the attention to yourself. So when things get crazy for me, and believe me, in the last few months, things have gotten a little crazy from a personal standpoint on some things happening internally, I always double down on me. I take more time off. I take more time away. I double down on exercise, double down on journaling, double down on gratitude, because I know that helps me. It helps me mentally, and then I get to show up for you in a much better place than a place of, oh, woe is me, it's all terrible, isn't it? And then a Brandon goes, oh, it's not that terrible, but God, you're bringing me down. You know what? I'm going to pause a little bit here. That's what happens. So it's how do we show up, which is how are we protecting ourselves? See, as very ambitious, tough, smart-minded people like we are, I heard this from a friend of mine, mentor of mine. He said, Jamey, how good will you allow it to be? He said this to me years ago. I said, what do you mean? He goes, because I notice If things start to get good in your life, you kind of make decisions that self-sabotage your world. And I never knew that. I didn't understand what he was talking about. And he gave me examples. And it kind of went deeper than that. And he said, if someone does something for you, how do you feel about it? I go, I feel uncomfortable. I go, I don't care if someone's saying, hey, Jamey, would you want something? No, I'm good. I automatically say it. I don't even know what you said. I don't even know what you offered. I automatically say no first. And as I started to explore that, what was happening, Carol, is I was not allowing someone else to feel the joy of helping me. I was taking that away from somebody by me thinking, no, tough Jamey don't need anything. And I've worked on that. And I've learned to say yes. I've learned to say, hey, Jamey, would you want this? Jamey, can I help you with this? And I go, yeah, I'd love that. Thank you. And I've learned to change that automatic, deep internal wiring habit. So there's certain phrases, and if you guys know me, I'm very big into words, phrases, and things that are automatic in our nature, but they're really like harmful. And one of the phrases that just gets my goat is I feel bad. Anybody use that phrase on a regular basis? I feel bad. It's such a selfish phrase. I feel bad. A lot of times it's I feel bad about someone else who does not necessarily feel bad. I feel bad that my PTA is helping me out. You just took their joy away because you feel bad instead of allowing them to feel good about supporting you, allowing them to honor the values and the standards that you have created to show up when things are not going perfect. And that's what this is about. Coaching's easy when everything's going great. Heck, that's the best part. Coaching is about when things are not going well. And if you're in business long enough, things are going well, just give it time. But again, things are not going well, just give it some time. As long as we don't keep perpetuating that. Gratitude's in the acceptance as well as the giving. We, high achievers, go-getters, intelligent people who thrive have a very hard time accepting. But yet, I'm doing a talk on this. I'm about to submit a talk on this, which is a play on this DIY mindset, do-it-yourself trap that so many of us are in. I can do it myself. Obviously, none of you are in that trap, at least to the point where you've invested in having people support you. There's more people out there that have not because they're in this conditioning of I can do it myself. Even if they have a team, I can do it myself. This is what keeps a lot of people trapped in their business. My staff won't, they won't take it well if I start to remove myself from the day-to-day. And I go, I wonder why that is. I'm wondering what you have said and done that's how they feel. I've never seen a business not grow, ever. I've seen plenty not grow because the owner was the bottleneck of the growth. You remove the bottleneck, business grows. Why does that sound counterintuitive to so many owners out there when every other successful company in the world has only grown with the owner removing themselves from the places that bottleneck growth? So it really is a whole conversation that we have in our brains that has been conditioned to be there by the people we've hung out with and the things we've read. I mean, how else is it there? We're not born with that. We've developed that. We've created that. But this is the kind of thinking that I do and that I encourage you to do is kind of question, well, why do I actually feel that way if it's not getting me what I want? See, that's what this is all about. If you're not happy with the place you're at, if it's not fulfilling enough, because we want more choices, money comes with, helps us get choices. We want less stress doing things we don't particularly love to do, and let's bring in people who do that, then this whole game is really just a game within yourself. Nothing to do with them. It's all about us. When we get our mind right, when we get our communication right, When we start believing our own worthiness and stop apologizing and start being real and vulnerable, amazing things start to happen. And if there's something happening in the world, if there's something happening within someone's life, we show up for them. There's something happening in the world. Show up for people. You choose how big of a thing to make it or not, but maybe something light. Hey, with everything going on, you may be getting affected by some of the things that are happening. If there's anything going on financially or otherwise, feel free to reach out. Or if it's your staff, hey, if there's anything going on, feel free to reach out. We'll see what we can do. It might be a scheduling thing, whatever it is. But it never takes the place of we're here to help other people. There's still people that need our help. That's why we do this work, because of the impact it has. But as leaders, it's how we're showing up. That's what we get to do. And these are some of the decisions that I made when, I started with coaching. It's the same exercise all of you go through. Who's your ideal client? Who's your target audience? I'm not here to save everybody. I want everyone to have a fantastic business that serves them purposefully and also serves the life that they want with their family, which takes money and it takes time. So money, time, and purpose are all checked. I know for 99% of the owners that won't happen, but it's not going to happen because it's not possible. It's not going to happen because they don't choose to want it or willing to do what it takes to get there. But for people like you, I'm looking for positive, coachable, and growth-minded. Those are the three attributes. Negative people, I can't work with negative people. You understand that. You've seen negative people. They crush everything. Non-coachable, not willing to actually do the work, open to ideas. And growth-minded, if you're not growth-minded, there's no point in investing. There's no point in doing anything. Just go through the motions so you can make yourself feel good. So that's what we're doing here. We're intentionally upgrading our identity. I don't say change because I think it's already within us. I call it an identity crisis. At some point in your business, you go from a few 100,000, 400,000 or 500,000, you start going bigger than that and you start to question, wait a minute, who am I? I thought I was the clinician, but now I got this staff, but I'm fighting being clinician, but I know I want this. That place, that 500,000 to 1 million, 1.2 million, the toughest place to be in business, in my opinion, because you go through the biggest identity crisis and some people never get through that and they stay there and it's frustrating because they think the solutions are outside of them in some strategy or thing they don't know yet. It's all an internal game, all of it, or at least 90% of it. Because once you get this right, the strategy you do becomes much easier to execute because you're not in your head having conversations left and right with yourself. We're leaders. We're the owner. We're the boss. We're the head person. You want to say leader? That's great, but I think you're just playing with words because you don't want to own what's really happening. Owner. We own this shit. We said, this is what we want to do. We were a little naive, maybe. That's fine. Sometimes you need to be a little naive to just go all in. But the more you lean into that, the more you get to the other side of that. And all of us are on the same journey. We're just in different places, which is cool because we ain't here to compare ourselves to anybody. And because we're on this lifelong journey of growth and development, all that, we just get to do this. We get to do this work, changing the O to an E. We don't gotta do this. We don't have to do this. We chose to do this. We get to do it. Stuff that's happening in the world, cool. We get to engage. We get to show up for our staff and for our clients. We get to do it. That's a positive mindset. And for the people that embrace it, I'm not saying it's easy because of the conditioning, but the people that embrace it, you guys are going to come out of this so much better. Because I believe the middle class of private practice, which is at 500,000 to probably 1 million, 1.5 million, middle class is going away. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's going away because it's not financially sustainable because of how much things cost, how much labor costs. So either we're going to stay small with like little self-employed practices, or we got to grow bigger to have enough leverage points. We can't stay in the same place. It'll just get way too expensive. Unless we just don't want to make any money and stay there, which I've seen people literally taking out savings to support their staff. They're literally taking out savings so their staff can get paid, although they haven't taken a paycheck in weeks. Spend 10 minutes and just kind of asking the question, what did this mean to me? Where am I in this journey? What am I facing right now? And journal it down. See what comes out.